Okay, let's talk about The Flash then. A very, very most anticipated film for, I think, almost 10 years. And it's finally here. And you can go first. What were your thoughts going in
Okay,
before?
so first initial thoughts was, and I was with a friend, so I told her this movie is going to break me. That was my initial thought. Like this movie is going to break me. And my thoughts coming out of the film was, huh, and that was it.
Okay, fair, fair, fair.
I don't really know how else I can explain it. It's just like, huh, like.
Yeah, yeah, fair. That's a fair take.
I should ask you, like, what was your initial thoughts?
Okay, so I went in not really thinking that much. I just wanted to be entertained, to be fair. There was so much drama behind this film. I was like, let me just have a fun time. Honestly, my first initial like reaction, like the first inner monologue in my head, walking out of the cinema, I was annoyed, which is not a good sign. I was walking out annoyed out of the film. But my first initial like thoughts were the Flashpoint Paradox animated film did it so much better, so much
Sure.
smoother, a better experience overall, was more emotional, had a better world building, was so much better. This movie felt like 20 different films compressed into one, and I didn't know what to do with it.
So, you know when you said it felt like three different films. I think we should talk about like three acts in this film. So the first act of the film, what did you think?
The first act, personally, was my favorite. We talked about this earlier. It legit felt like a Justice League animated series, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini style episode brought to the silver screen. Yeah, Alfred doing his thing, Barry walking into the cafe doing his thing, and then there's trouble in Gotham City. He gets up, runs all the way there, and they're doing it's like a Justice League 1.5 kind of movie. And honestly, I was smiling the entire time. I was smiling the entire time. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing.
It definitely helped because like Batfleck, like Ben Affleck was there, and it felt like a really that was like one of the reasons why I was smiling the most is because Ben Affleck was there, and I was just like a little schoolgirl, like oh my god, like he's there.
Personally, Ben Affleck's my favorite Batman. I want more, bro. I need more Ben Affleck. Give him the film. I want the Ben Affleck film. Make the Ben Affleck Batman movie, bro.
Like the first act is literally the same with me. Like I enjoy the hell out of the first act. I think it's like one of the strongest acts in within the film. It felt like an actual Flash film. Like you didn't even think for a second that this was a multiverse film, but the first act really laid the foundation quite well, I would say, of Barry, his character, his power, like the use of his powers. I really like that hospital scene where he's trying to save those babies and he's adapting to the surroundings and like how to utilize that to save all these babies and the nurse. Oh God, sorry, excuse me. Uh, I thought that was very well done. And I did like the banter between Barry and Bruce on the comms, and like I did it did give me a little chuckle. I would say it did give me a little chuckle, so I did appreciate that.
Yeah, it was. I think people tend to forget. Like, I think Ezra Miller has very, very good chemistry with other Justice League members, specifically Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa, really, really well. So it felt so natural when they were on screen together.
The first act felt like classic DCAU uh, style of like that just felt like DCAU.
Yeah,
And if anyone knows what that is, it's basically the DC animated universe.
yeah,
Just
basically. And once the act is over, you can pinpoint. This is for me. You can pinpoint where the movie just goes off the rails, and it's specifically where he does the Flashpoint sequence.
I
And
think
yeah, go on.
uh,
The movie falls off
uh,
basically. Go on.
I was gonna say something about Ben Affleck Batman. As much as like it comes back to it being bittersweet, and sorry like diverging to Ben Affleck, but his batsuit is one of the weakest batsuits ever. Poorly designed. I just want to say poorly designed. I don't know why he's wearing a lot of pads. For whatever reason, he's wearing that.
I'm
And
not wearing hockey pads. Oh
I'm not.
no, you clearly are, bro.
Mask is the weakest as well because like, and again, we talked about this. Like his mask is very weirdly designed. It makes him look very much older than he is.
Yeah, the
Like
cowl is
especially like
squished.
around
Yeah,
his
like
cowl is very squint, and
yeah,
when he's smiling, it just looks very off.
yeah.
The interaction between him, Barry, and Diana, Wonder Woman, was actually kind of cute. I thought it was a little cute little moment right there. Because there was always like this theory that they were always going to be together. Like, especially in the DCAU, there was always hinting at them being together. So I kind of liked that little gag between them.
I'm not
It, it, it,
50-50, Loki. It kind of felt like Justice League Like the Joss Whedon cut.
It was like one specific like about him giving away his money to end poverty that could have helped. Like that line kind of like threw me off because they got me and they let me go. I was like, oh, you see, you just why would you put that in there?
Yeah.
His interaction with Barry, particularly that scene where that out of the costume, most human scene possibly between like superheroes.
It hands down was the best dialogue. If we want more of this, just them chilling together, talking about life. We don't get that in DC films.
I can see why Ben said this. He finally cracked like the code on how to play Batman. Like I can definitely see what he meant there.
Yeah.
It just sucks that there wasn't so much of it. Like I would have really appreciated if he was in there more. But I'll take what I can get. I mean, it did make me, teary-eyed when
he was driving off, bro.
That was like the last scene, and he just drives off.
Yeah, that is it, bro. That is it.
Like, I don't want you to go.
Oh man.
The next character that jumps in is Iris. Bro, we need to talk about this.
The most underutilized like romance I've ever seen in my life.
If you take her out of the film,
no difference.
Nothing really changed.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so upsetting because the acting. She's a great actress. Dialogue between Barry and Iris. It was very I don't know. I think they were trying to go for a quirky, but it didn't really work as much. I'm a big romance kind of guy. Like I love my romantic films, and so superheroes and romance, like they just go hand in hand. Like one of my favorite films is Spider-Man 2. That is literally a romance film right there. To me, the romance was just so off, bro. It was off key. It might have just been done with the dialogue. The dialogue didn't really do justice between, Ezra, Kirsty. Great actors, yeah, but they just couldn't crack the dialogue right, and it just sucks. During the whole film, she's only there for like 5 minutes.
To be fair, like again, I said it earlier in the previous recording that the Zack Snyder Justice League, even though they barely had like any dialogue together, that one interaction where like Barry saves Iris and they just look at each other for like a split second, that just felt more like natural and more compelling than anything that we saw in this film.
Very expository as well, like the dialogue. It was like the way that the script was written, it was like telling us that they like each other without actually showing that they like each other. Like one drink in their apartment does not mean that they have like this flirtatious fling going on. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
I wish there was more more to show with them, but because this is a multiverse movie, this movie does not have time for that because they have to cut to the next scene, which is Barry basically reliving his PTSD, going to his old house. And I would say, as much as Ezra gets a bad rep, especially now, like he's getting a bad rep for obvious reasons, you touched upon this, the emotional beats Ezra hits.
Yeah.
He hits those emotional beats. It does hit me. Like it did make me feel like very sad.
Ezra Miller is a very good actor. He's
very good actor.
No matter how much of a weirdo he is IRL and how much of a psycho he is, he knows how to act. His best acting comes out of this film, specifically the moments with his mom. They are the best like emotional moments in this film by far. 10-10 acting, 10-10 experience that you can get. Too bad it's bogged down by everything else being the script. This is where the positives pretty much come to a halt. I guess the first negative is the CGI. I think it was a video game. Some video games look better. PS2. PS2, PS3.
My friend was sitting next to me. She literally said, this looks like a PS2 cutscene.
Yeah.
And I had to like sit there and be like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Bro, I've seen better PS2 cutscenes in games. The Injustice cinematics from the trailers and the cutscenes in the game look better than this movie. Final Fantasy X came out in 2002, and that trailer looks better than this film. 2002, bro. That was 20 years ago, bro.
Like the Arkham City teaser trailer, where it was all CGI. Wait, no, Arkham Origins teaser trailer.
With Deathstroke. Oh, bro. Right, it's so bad.
So that comes into the second act. Now let's get into the second act.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart. They're doing a take on the Flashpoint story. I think every mainstream Flash fan, DC fan, comic book fan knows about him trying to save his mother. Then like a butterfly effect happens, and he's in a new universe timeline where events are very, very different. It just wasn't compelling.
You know how the director, basically everyone's saying that this is a Flash film, and the emotional core is Barry and his mum. The thing is that as much as it's about that, like the film is overcrowded with the multiverse bullshit, essentially, different times and all that, and it's so jarring that you forget that the emotional beat is the mum, and she's not that. Like, it's supposed to be the emotional core, but it's overcrowded with the multiverse. It's like, no, I want the mum storyline. Like,
yeah.
this is great stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need the multi stuff. Obviously, it can work, but like the way that the film handled it, it was just so jumbled.
Yeah, very jumbled. Like, I love Michael Keaton's Batman, but there wasn't really like an emotional attachment between him and Barry. It's cool seeing Michael Keaton back. I liked him doing his Batmaning stuff. It was cool. I assumed Keaton's Batman would be like a mentor father figure for Barry in this film. No, he wasn't. He was just there to provide support and firepower and just the nostalgia bait, pretty much for fans.
My point is that Michael Keaton's Batman was just a tool for Barry to like push the plot forward, which it felt very hollow, right? And I don't want to say that Keaton is a goated Batman, you know. So to see this, to see how he was treated in the film, it just felt very hollow. Like there wasn't really much to him.
Like Batman's character is very, very compelling. And we're talking about a more experienced, withered, older Batman. There's a story there for his character, but they just don't dive into it at all. There's one like convert that they had, I think, around the Bat computer where it's like, my parents died, your parents died, I'll help you. That was basically what I got. There was never actually like that like emotional attachment between the characters. When Keaton's Batman, quote unquote, gets killed off, you don't feel anything. Which is so heartbreaking because he's such a sick Batman. Like, even though he went out kind of cold, like defeating Zod's henchmen, it's like, I don't feel anything. It's not good. No.
Unfortunately, that was just what he was. He was just a tool, right? No character, no nothing. It was just, this is Michael Keaton's Batman. You know who he is, what his character is. Just throw him in there.
Yeah.
And you can expect what he is. But the thing is that, again, what you said is like, you're talking about an older Batman. There's already so much interesting story there. And the only story that we got is like, my parents died, your parents died, I can help you. And unfortunately, that's actually literally the case. But with the amount of time he's there, I think sufficient enough, really. Like the action, great with Michael Keaton, like the way that he was moving, very Arkham style of fighting style. What more is there to say about Michael Keaton's Batman in this film? Like,
he was just there. He was just there. Supergirl was just there. Zod was just there. They were all just
like Sasha Cali, beautiful woman, and I will say this: she was given as much like material as she can, but she owned it. And like I liked her screen time. Like as much as the showed up for like a very short time, she did pretty well, I would say.
She was cool. Her suit was cool. The shot of her carrying Barry, the shot of her like in the sunset where the sun's hitting her and you can only see her back. Love that shot, top tier. But like the third act, the full third act of the movie is pretty much they're in the Man of Steel timeline, and it's supposed to be like from a different perspective. Nothing happens. Again, nothing happens. They don't dive into Zod. He's just there as like a faceless villain. You don't have any interactions between. Like, the dialogue's very, very bland between Supergirl and Zod. I thought there'd be some sick fight between Feora and Supergirl. That never happened. You see them like on screen together for like a split second. And I was like, okay, wait, it's happening now. The two most badass female characters in the DCU are gonna fight. And that never happens. So that pissed me off.
What kind of upset me was so our Barry, let's just call him mature Barry. So mature Barry was talking about how he was there when Zod invaded Earth. He was there and he tried to save a kid and his dad. He saved the kid, the dad died. Now we saw that kid and his dad again in the city, and I was like, oh, there's gonna be like a scene where all the Barry's gonna like come in, save two of them at the same time, and then he's gonna be like over that grief. And it's like, no, there's nothing there. Like, why talk about it if you're not going to resolve that? Like, it's the same rule as like if you show a gun in a film, like if you show a gun in the film, you're gonna have to use the gun. So like that rule sort of applies to here when older Barry, or mature Barry, was talking about how he failed to save the dad, but he can only save the kid. I was waiting for him to like save both of them. Like that would have been a really cool like full circle kind of moment where Barry's like, I'm strong enough to do this like now at my prime. Like I would have wanted the final act to take place in the city, because at least the city has more to do than just an ugly CGI PS1 Nintendo Atari looking CGI background. I dislike that very much.
It was so ugly, man. It was
So like, there's nothing there. Say this. I will say this, right? The fight sequence with younger Barry, mature Barry in harmony, just fighting a bunch of Kryptonians. That was like the highlight of the third act. I kind of liked it, and it helped with the music choice as well. Like it was pumping my gears, right? I definitely liked that scene very, very much, especially with him using other abilities like the tornado spin. Like I really like that. I was like, oh, I'm really, as much as we're taking this film apart, there are some cool Flash sequences Andy did, and I actually thank him for it. Like, at least you showed us like abilities from Flash. I do appreciate
They
that.
showcase his speed very, very well from like different perspectives. Like I love the shot before he goes back in time, where it's just like fixed onto his boots, a
Yeah,
side
yeah.
profile shot of his boots, and he's just running, and he just holds and holds and holds and holds until he hits the Speed Force. And the bit right at the beginning where like he goes to Gotham, where like it kind of like zooms out as he runs forward.
We zoom and it just passes
Yeah,
back in. Yeah, like I like.
that was cool. When they're fighting Zod and the armies, where like the two Barrys like clash into each other with their heels and just like burst forward together. That
Yeah.
was really cool.
What did you think of young Barry?
For me personally, he was very, very tolerable. But that was just me. There was points where I was like, this guy is going to get very, very annoying. I'm a very patient person when I'm watching movies and stuff, so he didn't bother me. But there was times where he was testing my patience, and I can clearly see how like other people found him revolting and annoying, and his laugh is frightening, scary. My guy, Ezra Miller,
Scary. Yeah.
he should just cast himself as the Joker. He has a laugh like that. It's bro, it was frightening.
You know, I'm in the same boat as you. He was tolerable. I didn't really hate him. I was like, this is young Barry, so like, I I take what I can get.
Yeah.
I can't really complain as much. Like his laugh did frighten me. I did become very uncomfortable when he was laughing. I did like the sequence when, you know, he was experiencing these powers for the first time and was running through the city and picking up a pizza. Like I did appreciate that. Like that was like a fun little thing. That's as much as I can really say about young Barry. Like that's the nicest thing I can really say about him.
Yeah, I didn't really feel any like emotional connection with him at all during the entire film. I thought I was going to, specifically in that bit where you know when mature Barry is lecturing him in the Batcave when he mentions his mum, and like he just gets triggered and he's like, "You have no idea how I feel." I was like, "Okay, this is it. This is where I start liking young Barry." He's still goofy and childish after that. I'm like, bruh, and that leads up to the bit where he kind of gets killed off, or I don't know if he dies or not. He dies when he's in the speedball. I felt no emotion.
But you know what? We should talk about like what happens afterwards. So like how did that reach to what reached that point? So like what happened was everyone just basically dies, right? And so young Barry goes back in time. Mature Barry tries to stop him, tells him like, look, as much as we can do this, like time travel can't change what happened. Like this is meant to happen. We can't do anything about it. Young Barry tries again and again and again. I think they were trying to make it like anxiety inducing. The music in the background like lifting up and up as many times as young Barry was going back and forward, saying like, oh, I can do this again. Just wait a second. I really did like that scene, but then it just gets cut off when Doc Flash just decided to jump in, and then it's revealed that he is actually young Barry, but very older.
The Dark Flash didn't need to be in the film either.
We're not dumb, right? We're like the connoisseurs of comic books. We know who killed Barry's mom. It's the Reverse Flash. You could have just had him in the film. There was no reason for Dark Flash to be in the film.
I think it definitely feels like a disservice to the character of Reverse Flash. It would have been more compelling if it was
Yeah,
Thorn.
because there's already like a whole lore about evil Thorn. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. You could have just used him as like this demonic figure, like that's just following Barry in the background.
Yeah.
Like beginning of the movie when Barry just time traveled back in time and he was like jumping on these fucking like timelines and pushed him into young Barry's timeline. You could have just had that as Reverse Flash and just have him be like this backdoor kind of villain that's been controlling everything.
I don't know, but it's a very, very weak take on the Flashpoint story, and it's messy. It's not compelling. It's not emotionally like attaching to the audience, or for me specifically. I don't know about everyone else, but it's just it's an enigma of the film. It's very, very weird. This film, it's a unique experience. I can't lie.
We're not even trying to be harsh. That's the thing. Like this is the saddest thing. We're not even trying to be harsh on this film because there are some good things, but there's so much bad that's in the film, and it just distracts us. Actually, we didn't even touch upon this. The cameos. What did you think about the
I
cameos?
think these were the worst set of cameo appearances I've ever seen in a movie. Like, I thought Multiverse of Madness did it really, really badly. This did it the worst. How is this a Flash film? And none of the
This
Flashes appear in this movie. But you have,
Crisis
like...
on the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths did a multiverse story better than this.
The Speed Force was better in Arrowverse. The way they explained Multiverse was better in Arrow and Flash. And that
Oh my
entire... Bro, the way the Speed Force looked was better in Arrow in Flash. The cameos were, we had George Reeves in black and
George Reeves.
white. You had Jay Garrick. Surprisingly, it was the actor who played Zoom in the CW.
Actually, he said that he didn't actually do it. I read it on a quote. He said, sometimes I'm like almost sleepy. I have like bad sleep, but I would have remembered if I shot a scene at WB Studios for the Flash film. I'm paraphrasing. I think it's just a CGI rendered.
Bruh, okay. That's new to me. But fair, that makes sense because he looks CGI anyway. He didn't even look like a...
Adam West,
Yeah,
Batman.
Yeah, the Adam West Batman.
Nicolas Cage, Superman.
Yeah, the Christopher Reeves and the Supergirl actor.
On paper, it would look like a beautiful little memory, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looked like a nightmare.
It
looked
looks
like a
so
beautiful...
ugly, bro.
Look at my eyes, and I'm telling you this. It was the most ugliest, discombobulating thing I've ever seen in a superhero movie ever.
It was...
And I'm not this to sound hyperbolic.
We'll talk about the elephant in the room being the Nicolas Cage cameo. Honestly, it's cool. It's fun. It's funny. I get it. I get when people are excited over it.
Kevin Smith is definitely happy about that.
I don't get it, but it's cool.
But you know what really confuses me, right? Is that Andy said that he was on set. Nicolas Cage was on set. He wore the suit. He did his thing. My thing is that why does he look so rubbery? He looks like a claymation studio figure.
Oh yeah, legit. Yeah, a video game cutscene. Legit a video game cutscene.
Why is that? If he shot an actual scene with Nicolas Cage, why did you make him look so rubbery?
I don't know. I think the take was that like everything looked like a claymation when Barry was going back in time. I don't like the aesthetic. It looks like a game cutscene. It looks fake. It doesn't look real.
It was so obvious. Like it was so...
Like it would really take you out of the movie, like the movie, like the immersive experience, completely gone. I know a lot of people say that like CG is very, very expensive and it's a lot of hard work. I've stopped using that as an excuse with modern day blockbuster films. I was rewatching Transformers '07. That movie did it so much better. That came out 15 years ago. Bro, if you just watch one sequence from Transformers, Michael Bay. Why does Optimus look better? Why does Iron Man in the '08 look better? The CG look better than anything else today. And it's worse is that, bro, they pick dead actors. You have pick dead actors to make cameos. You have living and breathing actors.
Embarrassing thing is, right, this is a Flash film about a Flash multiverse. Superman actors, a Batman actor, dead actors who were like Superman and Batman. Where's the Flash character? Where's Grant Gustin?
The biggest disrespect ever to him and John Wesley Shipp.
You know, casuals, like people who aren't even that into like comic books and stuff like that, like people who know the Flash because of Grant Gustin, they were literally waiting for Grant Gustin to be in the film. Like I've seen comments being like, I hope Grant Gustin is in the film. Like I really hope Grant Gustin's in the film. Oh, when's Grant Gustin going to be in the film? Everyone was wanting Grant. And so... And you touched upon this as well. I was waiting for like a surprise in the movie, being like, oh, okay, there's gonna be like a surprise. Grant's gonna like come in and like do a quick scene with John Wesley. Shit, like they were probably just like lying to us, being like, oh, we didn't get Grant and John Wesley. Shit, like
no, it's BS. It's legit. I'm not even joking. The way I was in the cinema was like, okay, Nicolas Cage, cool, awesome. Christopher Reeves, of course, perfect tribute. Okay, George Reeves, fair enough. The classics, okay. Where's Grant? I was like, wait, why are they?
Where's John?
Yeah, why are they changing the scene? No, don't change the scene. Wait for Grant to appear on screen, and then nothing happens. Bro, I felt so hurt. I've never felt hurt. I'm not even an Arrowverse fan. Okay, I only liked season 1 and season 2 of The Flash, but like, bro, like these are the OGs. Like Grant, forget blah blah. I can't even speak. It doesn't matter what you say about like the CW and Grant Gustin's Flash. He made Barry Allen mainstream. the CW, the Arrowverse, that made Barry Allen and the Flash an S
Like,
tier
he,
superhero.
10 years
Yeah.
as the Flash, he doesn't even get like one big screen appearance. Like, what the fuck were you doing? Disrespectful on him.
And John Wesley Shipp as well, the OG
And John,
Barry.
the first Flash actor, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
And they're both alive. You don't need to CG them.
Yeah.
It's such an L. It annoys me. Flip's sake, it actually annoys me, bro.
If you were having Ben Affleck and like come back, you could have done like really something cool. You could have done something really cool. You could have had like a multiverse where it's like Neil Adams' look of Batman with Ben Affleck in that suit. You could have just done that with Gal Gadot. They were literally on set. You could have just done that as a quick little thing.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Like,
It's a multiverse film. You have
It's a
so much creativity that you can use, but it's just a montage of cameos that you do.
hang on. I read, right, and sorry for going on a tangent, viewers. Apparently, they shot 3 different end credit scenes. So one was outside the courthouse with Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Michael Keaton's Batman. That was the one. The other one was Sasha Calle, Michael Keaton outside of the courthouse, and the other one was the George Clooney one.
I felt nothing. I felt nothing for George Clooney. My initial
Awesome.
reaction, no, honestly, when that happened, my initial reaction was, you know, when like Bruce called Barry for the court case, and I was like, okay, here it comes. This is where we're gonna get a new Batman. In my head, I'm like, this is where we get Brave and the Bold, the James Gunn Machete Batman reveal. I was like, okay, I'm ready. He picks up the phone, and like, you know when you hear a voice but you don't clock who it is straight away, and it takes you a couple seconds to compute like who it is.
Yeah.
So when the car pulled up, I'm like, oh my god, I know who it is. And I see George Clooney walk out. I'm like, please don't end the film like this. Please don't end the film like this.
They had Henry Cavill on set. They had him on set. They shot a different end credit. They didn't even utilize him. You know when the whole cameo scene thing was going on, right? Again, it comes back to my point in utilizing Ben, Gal, and Henry in the same scene. You could have just done like a very classic Trinity, like golden age look. Just like a quick little thing. You could have just done that. So easy, so quick. You could have just done that.
It's the biggest missed opportunity that... I don't know, bro. It's just typical Warner Bros, man. They can't flipping make a film correctly, bro.
I'm so glad we got like new people in WB because my goodness.
I trust James Gunn. But I honestly, after watching this, again, Flashpoint Paradox, watch that film 10/10.
You know what? Viewers, if you want to like read peak, alright, just read, you watch the film or you can just read the book. Alright, and I'm not like those Twitter comic fans being like Flashpoint even top 5. It's top 5. Alright, just read the book. It's great. One of the best ones, alright?
Wait,
Just
like,
read.
I have something to show as well. You know, like that. I said this to you before on the previous recording, but for you guys, you know, okay. So for the people who've seen that Wolverine meme, where like Wolverine is lying down, looking at the photo of him and Jean, right? And then like in the meme, it's a different photo, right? And then it's like, perhaps I treated you too harshly. Grant Gustin, bro, I feel like that right now, bro. Grant Gustin is my Flash. He's my Barry. I'm so sorry, bro. The TV show, specifically the first 2-3 seasons, did Barry's arc so well. Okay, and fair enough, TV has its benefits of longer running storytelling, but bloody hell, man, the movie was a mess. If you want a more streamlined, concise, smooth story of Barry and the Flash and the Flashpoint Paradox story, this does it well.
And viewers, like whoever is listening, you gotta understand that me and YK over here, we've been like biggest DCEU fans in our own like.
We're trench buddies, but we've been there since day one.
You guys don't have no idea how bad we've had it since 2013. We've been in the trenches since day one.
We've witnessed the Zack Snyder stuff. We've witnessed the Joss Whedon stuff. We've witnessed the Walter Hamada like takeover.
Witnessed the Suicide Squad AS stuff. We witnessed it all. We witnessed it.
Yeah, we were there.
We were there.
Yeah.
You look so easy, man. You like fucking casuals. You have no idea. Like big DCU fan, alright? You have no idea what it is.
Bro, it's actually so painful. No one knows our pain.
Bro, It's so sad how like MCU fans are like, oh, you know, as an MCU fan, I actually feel you guys. I understand your. No, you don't.
No,
I don't do that.
No, you don't.
I don't want your pity.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want pity.
Yeah.
You got your little universe going on. All right.
You really hit the nail on the coffin with this, but the whole point of this film is Barry Allen to let go of his past.
Right. Yes.
Please tell the audience about.
Okay. Get up for this one. All right.
Yeah.
Viewers, let me just say this: the whole movie was about Barry moving on, letting go of his mother's death. Now, Barry did the noble thing. Well, firstly, he went back in time, put the tomato in his mum's shopping cart, and that created a different timeline. Now, his present self went back in time to that point, took the tomatoes out of it, placed it back onto the shelf. The next scene cuts. We're in the courthouse. The footage shows that Henry was there in the grocery store, and he looks up, and it's actually him. So the people, the judge, can be like, okay, so he was there. He didn't kill his mom. You're free to go. What actually happened was that Barry was at the grocery store. He placed the tomatoes on top of the fucking shelf so that his dad can look up at the camera so that he can free his dad. He did not learn anything. There was no...
He did it intentionally. The movie's pointless. The entire story is pointless.
The whole movie is pointless. The whole movie's pointless.
He didn't learn his lesson. He didn't learn his lesson. He didn't learn his lesson at all. Like, bruh, nah, man. So pretty much, Barry Allen, the Flash, is still in a paradox, basically. After that beautiful scene with his mum at the end, which is probably the best thing in the movie. Still, like, doesn't learn his lesson.
The scenes with the mum is actually very endearing. I will say this, like, it's very much endearing. I love superheroes when they bring in their parents and all that. Like, I love that sort of relationship, and there was something strong there. Like, the foundation was there, but there was just so much going on that it just was overcrowded, man. It was overshadowed, and that really is just so upsetting to just watch.
Yeah, because I think the Flash is such an endearing character as well. He's the pillar of the Justice League. He is one of the most popular superheroes of all time. And one of
the most tragic superheroes of all time.
Oh yeah, legit. Like, he's been through a lot. And fair enough, like, the whole point of this movie is that he's selfish, right? It's a selfish tweet, which he does. He fixes that himself, but technically this movie, he doesn't fix it because he just continues the mistake that he made. This movie is just weird, like... I would lie if I said I hated the film. But I would lie as well if I said I liked the film.
Yeah, that would just be a reach.
So, it's like... It can go from a 7 out of 10 to moments out of 10 out of 10. And the movie can be like a 2 out of 10. So it's a bit of a weird one. Nah, man, this is a painful one.
I'm just glad that it's done. Like this.
Yes, reboot the universe. That is it. James Gunn, do your thing. Take over.
Please. I said this to a friend. It's so depressing to even think or talk about the DCEU. Like, it's so depressing. I'm just glad that there's an actual plan. Not to say that there wasn't an actual plan beforehand. It just got fucked over, sadly. But at least James has a plan, and the studio is on board with said plan, and I want this to just continue on for 8 to 10 years. That's what I want, and I'm very much excited for Superman Legacy. As much as like Snyder, like the thing is that me and you, YK, we're Snyder fans, but we're pretty much excited for Superman Legacy because we're Superman fanboys at the end of the day.
Yeah,
we're comic fans at the end of the day, more than being a Snyder fan.
And I think, again, with James Gunn, like, taking over the helm, like, you can tell he's knowledgeable. He knows the fan base in and out. Like, look at him on Twitter, bro. That guy, you can tell, like, he's very much aware of, like, how divided the fan base is.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows how to make movies. And he's very, very in tune with the fans, unlike the previous regime with Warner Bros. Because they were the complete opposite. Like, again... I was watching the Michael Rosenbaum podcast with him the other day, yesterday actually, and like he was just talking about like his experience with writing a Superman movie, and like you can tell he loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I have complete faith in him.
That's the important part about James, is that you can just feel the passion that he brings to his films. Low budget, big budget, does not matter. You can feel that passion just drawn into it every single time. And like, as much as as much as most don't enjoy him being on Twitter because he does reply, I actually like the fact that he replies to such rumors and actually communicates with fans online. Like, I really do appreciate that, because he's not just a studio head, you know, he's just a guy that just likes directing shit. He's a storyteller. He enjoys telling stories, and so he's a fan. And so I like the fact that he's sort of replying to such comments and rumors and dishing them out, because I actually appreciate that more than just him being a regular old studio head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like old regime.
The old DC regime was the most painful thing ever, bro. Felt like I was living in a dictatorship. Bro. But yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.